Hello, and welcome to another Out of the Basement's interviews, chats with Patrick. And I'm Patrick Leeson, of course, from Out of the Basement. And I'm joined with Nadim Toth today from Toth Comics. I know you have more than just that, but that's where I met you at the last Capital Comic Convention type thing. So tell me about Toth Comics. We'll start with Toth Comics, and then we'll just deviate from there.
Well, thank you, Patrick, for having me. It's a pleasure.
Welcome.
So our mission at Toth Comics is to empower, to show anyone can be their own hero. That's our core mission.
I saw you have two at the moment, right? You have the Cronus Generations as well as Deadly Fate.
That is correct.
Now, are you like the artist, writer, and everything?
I'm the writer. I have a very talented team in Hungary. Roxanne Karpat-Vögli, Judith Tondora, and Roland Pilks.
Nice. All right. What got you started in doing your own comic?
So for me, the comic industry, since a young age, it helped me a lot for self-acceptance, giving me hope in the stories. So just a bit of a background, I was born in Morocco and from a Hungarian father, Moroccan mother. I was alternating between Morocco and Romania, and I always felt different. Also a dreamer type. In school, I was looking at the clouds mostly, and one of my teacher, he didn't appreciate that too much. So he kept pulling my ear, which it disfigured one of them.
Oh, no.
And, and for me, I came into Canada when I was 6, and the comics, it really helped me to, when I saw the Xmen, different individual, but being empowered and making a positive difference in the world. So I promised myself, as long as I'm here, to make the best positive impact and giving back to the comic industry.
Okay. So that's impressive. How long has Toth Comics been around? When did it start?
I would say now it's 7 years. It's been, since my teenager year, I wanted to give back, to write stories, to give hope. So it's, for me, I feel it's such a privilege, and I encourage anyone to follow their passion. If you have something, to go for it, because if you dream it, it can actualize.
I read the one of the episodes, I think the first one of Deadly Fate.
Beautiful.
Yes, where there was a virus that was infected all the kids, and some of the kids get powers from that. What gave you the idea for Deadly Fate?
Deadly Fate. So it was to share stories about different individuals, all having their hardship, yet still overcoming their hardship. Also with that virus that give them superpower, it's when we're different, it's easy to be targeted because of our differences. And it's, again, to show this hope to being empowered. So this is... this was the main message. And for the powers with the virus, so it was to give an edge, on how they gain their power. Yeah.
I did like it because you had some where some of the families kicked the kids out because they had these weird powers. Others, they're like tried to help them and support them, and that I thought that was interesting that you had different points of view. Like sometimes the family was supportive, sometimes it wasn't, sometimes they're on their own. So I did like how many episodes or books do you have for Deadly Fate now?
So for Deadly Fate is a standalone book, so it's all the episodes. For me, this book, I had the chance of having so much feedbacks at the Comic-Con of other writers, and since with the superpowers, they said it's resembling on the Xmen, which for me it was kind of a compliment, because that's how I was inspired by. With Cronus Generation, it's a different universe with its own different story. So for Cronus Generation, we will have 5 episodes in total.
Nice. Is there plans for a new comic coming out soon, or
For Cross Generation, yes. So we're working on the second issue.
no? I meant like a whole new
Oh,
stories, like something brand new.
for now, so we're focusing on Cross Generation.
That must be a lot of work.
For me, the stories are finished, so it's more with the artist that.
So you talked about X-Men. Which X-Men do you remember? Like the days of with Wolverine, Nightcrawler, and that? Is that the ones you remember?
Well, any X-Men that I could get my hand on, I read. It's even the one in the 80s. It's for me, what had a great impact was X-Men Evolution.
Oh yes, yeah.
This series. But for the X-Men, I have a huge libraries of comics and older comics,
Hmm.
such as the Massacre of the Morlocks.
Yes, yes, yeah.
This,
Who's your favorite X-Men? Like who's the X-Men that you identified with the most?
well, so I have they all. Well, what I love about the X-Men, they all have their unique stories,
Hmm.
and so why I would they all have something that I admire. If I have at the top of my mind the Nightcrawler, it would be
Hmm.
uh, it, like his childhood was challenging, uh,
Yeah.
yet to overcome that and to bring as much empowerment and positivity to the world. That's beautiful.
Yeah, he stayed positive no matter what. And that's
Right.
and have you seen the movies as well? Like the original Bryan Singer movies, the first three X-Men. Did you see those?
Uh, one of my favorite. It helped me so much um, growing up. I keep watching the X-Men 2 every once a year. I keep
Hmm.
watching it.
So is that your favorite? What's your favorite X-Men movie then from like all like First Class, Phoenix and all those? Which is it still X2 your favorite?
You got it. X2. It's um, it's something about the underlying message of the mutants and the human
Hmm.
being able to live in harmony despite everything, and it's. It's all about self-acceptance, and I love it so much. Patrick, I would also like to mention, so and for me, it was one of my dreams to be able to also play in one of those movies.
Hmm.
And in Montreal, we have they shot the X-Men Apocalypse,
Yes.
and this is why I encourage someone, if you have a dream, to go after your dream, because no matter what will happen, it will always be a success since we have given it our best effort.
Hmm.
So I've given it my best effort to be in the movie, and I was able to be in Apocalypse.
Oh, you were.
Um,
Wow.
yes. So even like to be, this is what I'm saying. It's like if you have a dream, when you say this is my dream, and you live your dreams, it feels like life is a dream.
That's impressive. Okay, I have to ask, where are you in the movie?
Oh, so if you recall the first scene of Apocalypse, Apocalypse being carried, it's actually the first scene,
Yeah.
and I was one of the mutant carrier of
Oh, really?
Apocalypse.
Okay, nice. Well,
Um, yeah, it's a privilege.
that's impressive. No, no, can follow your dream. One of the interviews I did was a guy in Edmonton. He was actually an extra on The Last of Us, the TV series.
Beautiful.
And like you said, like even if people are like, oh, it's just an extra, but that's how you start. Like that's how you get to interact with people, and it's still an experience on the movies.
Hey Patrick, that's exactly it's still an experience for me, Patrick. Even if I was giving water bottle there, I wouldn't like it's such an experience, and I was so happy, So
I'll have to set you up with a couple other people who do web series and stuff in Ottawa.
beautiful.
And one, she's from Lebanon and that. So it's more of the she had issues with the fact that you know people from Lebanon or Moroccan, that sort of culture tends to be like either bad guys in movies or a certain thing. So she's had done stuff trying to break the mold of like, no, no, we're people first, you know,
Yes.
and that. So I'll on the side, I'll introduce you to them to say, hey, if for someone interested in doing so, if you're interested in trying acting some more.
I would love that, Patrick. And you know what you mentioned? It goes back, to the X-Men, because regardless of how we appear, our other appearance,
Hmm.
it's our energy that matters.
Hmm.
And this is why I love that message about the X-Men. Um, and this is like for me, it's such an honor to be in my story, like to put an empowerment message. Um, and when you accept and love everything that you are, you shine so bright.
Hmm.
Um, so it's thank you for mentioning this to me.
No, no, that's that, and I'm quite impressed with you for that you were able to had a dream and you followed through with it with your own comic line and the fact that you got to star in an X-Men movie. That's impressive.
Thank you so much, Patrick. The mindset shift that allowed me to do this. In my teenage year, it was very challenging for myself to accept myself, and there was a lot of challenging situation that I grew up in. So, for me to still be here and to be able to spread this message, I promised myself that I would go after my dreams because life is such a dream.
Hmm.
And until if we haven't experienced something jolting that uh, see how life is precious, we stay in the safe zone. But once we realize that every moment is a gift,
Hmm.
this is where even if they say no, even if they ignore us, at least we have done our best shot.
That's true. Very true. Very, very important. That's. I'm glad you still have that message and that's still with you there. Um, if you were to write an comic,
Yes.
would you be like jump on it right away? Do you have an idea for like what you would do with the X-Men? Because they've been since the 80s, well, 70s and all, there's been so many different variations of the X-Men. The latest one is Krakoa is an island and it's the nation state. I haven't followed up with the X-Men for quite a while, so I sort of picked up one recently and going, I don't really know what's going on here.
Yeah.
So, are you inspired to try and do like an X-Men story and try and sell it to Marvel?
So for now, with this, like, if I'm being offered to write an X-Men story, it would be my highest pleasure. For now, what I'm focusing is with my work to
Hmm.
showcase what we're doing,
Yeah.
with all those different characters coming from all different backgrounds, yet still finding a way to be empowered, regardless of their history. So yeah, to come back to the X-Men story, um, because of my life stories and the different people I've interacted with, um, I have like a huge list of like ideas and story that I could go there.
Oh, good. Well, then that's hopefully you'll be able to write them, even if it's not for Marvel. At least continue Toth Comics with different storylines and that. Have you thought about like fantasy comics as well, or are you still more the sci-fi sort of X-Men sort of idea?
Yeah, so I'm more of a sci-fi. So our with Chronos Generation, it's definitely sci-fi
Mm.
superhero.
Yes.
So this is my heart genre. I also love fantasy, but
See,
for
that's your
me to write it, it's different.
that's good. Well, that's good. Now, how long have you known the people in Hungary that you work with? Did you know them before you contacted them, or?
Yeah, like I would say about 10 years. So how it started, when we have like those dreams in our heart,
Mhm.
and for me, I'm like, I'm gonna give it a shot regardless. So I've posted on the artist forum, I'm looking for an artist. I have this idea for a comic. Judith, she contacted me. She said, "Hey, I'm an artist from Hungary." And I'm like, "Hey, what are the coincidences? I'm half Hungarian, you know?"
Yeah.
So we built a relation, and she became great friends. She allowed me to introduce to the other artists in our team, Roxanne Karpat-Volgi and
Mhm.
Roland Pilks. 2 years ago, I was in Hungary. We were able to meet
Oh, nice. Yeah.
beautiful people, amazing
Yeah.
people.
I was gonna say, because this is one I've had with other different artists, and that the technology now makes it easier to work across the globe. Whereas, you know, 40 years or 30 years ago, without all the internet, you'd have to like ship off things manually for them to look at and ship they'd ship it back. Nowadays, it's like Google Drive or cloud. They
Yeah, it changes so much.
Hmm.
It's very useful for us to connect. Eh?
Yeah. So you said you've got most of the stories done for Cronus Generation.
Right.
So now it's basically you send it off to them to do the art. Does it after they're done in the art, do they send it back to you for the final approval and say, "Hey, yes, that's good"?
That's correct. Every few pages, they come back and see. They have done this for. They all have their own series,
Hmm.
so they're very professional. So it's for me. Because we give them when we give them the instruction, you're so good to follow them. So it's
Oh, nice.
you're great.
Yeah. I was going to say, so 7 years ago, what changed? What got to you to say, "Hey, I'm going to do my own"? Like you said, Toth Comics has been around for 7 years. So 7 years ago, what came to your mind that says, "I'm going to make my own comic"? Besides your dream, like because it's not easy to go from dream to reality, right? So what was that change?
Beautiful. So for me, there was with Marvel, I admired them so much. Since I knew the X-Men, I think since 9 years, since when I was 9 years, I was looking forward to have an internship with them. I
Hmm.
was already looking at that, and the more I grew up, I'm like, okay, well, since with Canada and the United States, I would have to move there. So I'm like, I'm also going at the same time to do my own thing.
Hmm.
So this is where um, I've decided to take the step of doing Toth Comics. It was natural for me.
Oh, good. And hopefully, I imagine you've had support. Did you have support from the family and friends and that to do this?
Um, so I would say the support it came afterwards.
Okay.
So because if people don't necessarily understand your idea at first, they might tell you, oh, you should, let's say, you should be a mathematic teacher
Hmm.
instead, or
Yeah.
so the support they came afterwards when they were able to see the results. What I encourage people is, so when you have a dream, there's a quote that says, "Don't tell your dream, show them,"
Yes.
because the more we talk about our dreams, it's almost as it takes away energy from actually putting the action to do our dreams.
Hmm.
So I hope this kind of
No,
answered the
it makes
question.
sense. It makes sense. Yeah. So, but I'm still good that even afterwards they give you the support, right? That's just it.
Yes, that's beautiful.
Now, do you work full time as well as doing Thoth Comics?
That's correct. Yes.
That's a lot of work.
Thank you. So since Todd Comics is my passion, it's I almost don't see it as work. I see it
Yeah.
like as unwinding. When I write those
Okay.
stories.
Yeah. Do you just like focus on the story for a while? Like do you try and write every day, or are you more like, okay, you put a block of 3 days and say, I'm just doing that?
So for me, I love to take daily walks. And when I have some ideas in those daily walks, I put it on my notes on my iPhone,
Hmm.
and it comes naturally. So
Nice.
and yeah, so if we have a certain timeline, this is where I would block every day some time in my calendar to do the tasks that are required.
Yeah. Do you find that that's probably more important, right? To have the scheduled say, okay, it's good to have a dream, but you still have to like sit down and say, okay, I'm gonna from this time to this time, that's what I'm gonna do.
Uh, you said it. That's the key. Patrick, the focus is one of the most. It's like a superpower for us. Wherever we put our focus, this is where we will see it more in our lives.
Hmm.
So for me, Patrick, like one of the things that allow me to change my life for not being empowered, to becoming so depressed, to going after my dreams and being empowered, is where I put my focus. And so I've asked myself some question. Actually, one of my philosophy teacher in college, so she asked the class this question: Why keep doing things that makes you unhappy? And this it allowed me to realize
Hmm.
how much I was putting focus on things that was making me unhappy.
Yeah.
And when I stopped doing this, all of those things it came naturally.
Oh, good, good. So I guess that's sort of, yeah, that's a question you don't really think about too often of like, hey, are you doing stuff that makes you unhappy? Why are you doing it?
Right.
And it's not admittedly, and it's not always easy to just get away from that. So impressive that you were able to do that because, as you know, sometimes with situations and that, you're not always able to get away from what makes you unhappy.
That's correct, Patrick. Yeah.
And
Sometimes just like being aware of that, it will start to make a change in our life. It's gradually,
mhm,
because yeah, like this from being depressed and not being empowered to being empowered, it takes it was like in a rest zone. I was starting to stop doing the things that were making me unhappy.
mhm.
And when you come in a rest zone, this is where you can start to focus on other things.
Good, good. Well said. Do you want to continue trying to do acting as well then?
So it's kind of interesting with the acting. My dream was mainly the X-Men. So like those, so those superheroes. So other than those superhero genre,
Mhm.
my heart wouldn't be too much in it.
Yeah. Okay, so you'd want to be in the sort of like X-Men or sort of superhero type movie.
That is correct.
Okay, okay. Um, so if you were to do a movie, then have you thought about like doing your own movie? Again, I know in Ottawa there's a few people that do movies, and they're usually lower budget. But have you thought of trying like a low budget, web movie of yourself, like your own sci-fi stories?
Patrick, this is why I love to discuss this with people in this industry because we give ideas to each other. So for now, I'm more focused on the books, on the stories,
Hmm.
and who knows what can come from that. But I'm all for expanding. So this is a great suggestion. Thank you.
Yeah, well, no, again, and this is why what we do. I'm doing these interviews is reaching out to different people because we're trying to build our audience, and we want to bring in people who are doing the same. It's that we call it the connections. We're trying to like connect all the different communities to help everybody grow and be inclusive and be positive for all the different areas. Like comic book writing, game design, movies. It's they're the more the community helps each other, the better it is for everybody.
Patrick, I'm so grateful that I met you. Thank you for doing this, by the
Oh no.
way.
Oh well,
Yeah.
thank you for yeah, again. Like it's great for me to interview these sort of you guys like this because it gives me a different understanding of things because like I said, I'm more into movies and that, and I haven't read comics for quite a long time just because it's hard to keep track of the different ones.
Yes.
But again, I like to talk to artists, even if it's not my style of the art or storytelling. I still think it's impressive that you can do what you do, that you have the passion for it. And like you said, having the passion is what makes it important because when it's no longer something you love, then it becomes a job.
That's the key. The more when you know what's your why, the reason why you're doing this, it becomes a pleasure. This is why it's so
Hmm.
important to ask ourselves those questions. Is my heart in it? Because
Yes.
if your heart is in it, no matter what the outcome is, it's a success because your
Yes.
heart is in it. And the um, most successful people, they want to see others successful as well.
Hmm.
So this is why whatever your dream is, to not be afraid to go and ask question to people,
Hmm.
and because you can find the most beautiful people in this
Oh, I
industry.
agree. I agree. And you just got to keep that positive attitude with people, you know. So this is why we do there's gaming conventions. Our whole group likes to go and we do a live stream of this Canadian Tabletop Championships. It's in May. It's more tabletop like miniatures and those sort of things, but we live stream it because we have people that play or do whatever. We have them come on and do interviews and chat. And it's great to go out and yeah, meet different people, get to be involved in their passions and their hobbies, and just let other people, see them talking about it.
Exactly, yeah. Talking with people who have the same interest,
Hmm.
it's beautiful.
Now, when we were talking at the Comic Con, or sorry, the Capital City comic book convention. You were talking about Dungeons and Dragons. Now,
Yes,
you've never played, you were saying.
I haven't played, but I've heard. Since I was a kid, I was looking at the characters,
Mhm.
the different stats, and when we were talking, you repiqued my interest. Because you're posting. So
Mhm.
mm,
No, well, I'll have to get you trying to involved in some games in that. Like I said, there's one, the can games. I'm going to be running a superhero. It's called the Marvel role playing game. It's their latest iteration of their role playing games. They've had a few, but you get to play Xmen characters in there if you want to.
really.
So I'll set up a thing in can games, and I'll make sure I'll send you out the thing that, hey, sign up for this. You'll have Nightcrawler, no matter what.
That's awesome.
Nightcrawler is set aside for you.
Thank you, Patrick. That's
And
awesome.
do you have any thoughts for new people besides all the being enthusiastic of how to get involved with the writing and doing the comic book themselves or anything?
You know, our intuition, it's one of our greatest gift. It will give us nudges. It's like, try this, try that. Um, you know the quote I've mentioned, it's don't tell people your dream, show them.
Hmm.
Um, to My advice would be to share with only people who can actualize your dreams. Because if you share your goals with people who don't necessarily understand your vision,
Hmm.
they might give you detours or not understand where you're going. But if you have those nudges, this inspiration, go for it because there's a place for you. And Patrick, the place that we meet, like conventions, are so beautiful because
Hmm.
you get a chance to meet artists from Marvel, DC,
Hmm.
and they're all fantastic. Um, so I would say to the more that you're involving yourself, if you have a story in your heart and you write it, hey, you're a writer. If you have an idea of a character and you start drawing it, look, you're so much more closer to have it made your dream come true.
Hmm.
And also, Patrick, I would like to say that now with the self-publishing, it's make it so much more easier than ever.
Yes, yeah.
With Amazon, you just have to uh, put your book there, and they will print it and send it for you.
Oh,
So
nice. Because I saw that you have the links for Amazon Canada and Amazon US for
yes,
both Chronos Generations and Deadly Fate. So when I do the interview, so everyone who's watching, the links will be in the description of this video for the Chronos Generation and Deadly Fate. So if you get a chance to support local artists, please, please, everyone, support local artists as much as you can. As much as we love Marvel and Disney, they don't really need our money as much as local artists.
thank you so much.
No problem. So no, I like again, thank you very much for doing this interview. This is great. So you came to Canada. Did you say you lived in Montreal or did you?
Yeah, so I came in Canada when I was 6.
Mhm.
So I grew up in Gatineau, the French region.
Yes.
So there you go.
Well, Morocco is also a lot of French in Morocco, correct?
Hey, that's correct, exactly. I was alternating between Morocco and Romania
Hmm.
before Canada, so you can imagine, the
Oh,
contrast, and this is another thing, like with the difference, because wherever I go with my multiracial background, um, you see the world in so many different ways.
hmm.
And when we travel, we realize we're all connected somehow, yet it's so a different perspective. So it's
Yes.
interesting, yeah.
No, it's a so I feel more people should travel to different areas just to get used to different cultures, different things, just to understand, we're all still human. As much
Yeah.
as we have our own, thoughts and everything, you know, if you treat other people with respect and friendliness, you're usually going to get the same thing back.
Hey, that's another key. It's the energy that we give.
Hmm.
It's like a reflection, and it goes back again, Patrick, to the core message of what we're trying to bring. It's the empowerment,
Yes.
regardless what your background is, what your story is, whatever has happened with you. We can all connect, and you're all worthy and beautiful as you
Yeah.
are.
Have you been to any of the comic book conventions, like the big ones, like Montreal Comic Book Con. Have you been to San Diego Con?
So from Montreal, yes. And I was also able to host a panel there for
Oh,
Toth
nice.
Comics. It was
Yeah.
amazing. For San Diego, Patrick, that's another great recommendation from you. How about you? Have you been to?
No, no, it's on my wish list.
Yeah,
Uh,
please.
but I'm more of a role player one. So there's one called Gen Con, which is the big one in the States for role playing. So that's where I'd like to go. That's in August. That's for me the big one.
Yeah.
But it's one of those ones like work and money and everything, but it's on my wish list. So either the next couple of years, I'm going to be getting to go to Gen Con. San Diego Con is probably further down the line, but I still want to go just to enjoy the atmosphere. Um, the one I go to is also called Adepticon, which is the tabletop miniature games usually. That's the big one for Games Workshops, Warhammer 40K and that. But I love going to those ones. I wish I could afford to go to all of them. I mean, that would be my dream. Win the lotto and just be able to go to these all over the world, the different conventions to meet people and that.
I feel now that so Gen Con would be the
Gen
first
Con's the
one.
big one for the role-playing games like D&D. That's where actually it's got its starts was for it's in Indiana, I believe. Now I have to check
Yeah, yeah,
my
yeah.
but yeah, it's been there for decades. Can Games is the Ottawa one that's started running off from Carleton University, and it's been around for over 40 years.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And so that's one I'm going to be at as well. But those are the ones I like. But again, I don't mind going to different conventions. It's great to meet different people. I went to years ago, the Ottawa Comic Con, when it was at the EY Center,
Okay.
and I actually got to meet Bruce Campbell.
Beautiful. Hey,
Yeah,
the people that we meet, eh?
exactly. And see, for movies, I like B movies, what they call B movies, because they do stuff with a lower production money that is it they have a harder time because they don't have the big budget to do whatever. So they have to make it the story and the acting and the stunts somewhat believable on a much lower budget.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't work, but I still, like I said, like to support people who do these sort of things. There's so a friend of mine, Mesa, she's the one I was going to introduce you to for acting and stuff like that. And she has a lot of stories. She's again followed her dreams. She managed in the last few years. She has had a web series on there. She's been in some movies and that. So same as what you said, you just got to follow the dream. Uh, you know.
Hey, beautiful. The people that you meet, eh?
Yeah, exactly. So where would you love to go? Like, what's the one you'd say, not hosting, just be able to go and meet some of your, comic book heroes. Where would you want to go and who would you want to meet?
There you go. So San Diego. So one that I would love to meet, Joe Quesada.
Hmm.
So he wrote one of my the favorite comic series, NYX Wannabe. So it's in the Xmen universe, but those kids in the comic, they were never recruited by the X-Men.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting one to see how they overcome their own challenges without having been rescued. So they had to
Oh,
rescue their own self.
they do it themselves. Yeah.
Um, and Patrick, I would like to mention, do you have a vision board?
Oh, a whiteboard, you mean?
A vision board, with because you mentioned
Oh,
like like the Gen those convention.
yes.
So for me what I found that
Oh, all right, right. Yes, yes, yes.
what I found worked is to put a vision board for yourself that is
Hmm.
private. And what I did, I separated in 5 years sections,
Yeah.
and I put in a post-it like my dream there. Because when you see it, and to put it in a place where you see it every day, because unconsciously you will see it,
Hmm.
and your intuition will give you nudges.
That's good. Yeah.
And since you put a timeline on it, you would be surprised on how much it can actualize.
Hmm.
So I hope that I have some cool news for you for that convention. In
Yes,
the
that'd be awesome. So one of my favorite X-Men graphic novels was called Man Kills, God Loves, or God Loves, Man Kills. That's an older one. I don't is with Chris Claremont. It's sort of they used it a little bit for the movie X2. Like a little bit of it is there. Like the religious, it was a religious guy who was crying out that X-Men are demons because they're tainted and stuff like that. So if you ever get a chance to pick that one up, it's called I think it's Man Kills God. God Loves, Man Kills. Like say,
Is it with the purifiers? Is it,
uh, yes,
for me, anything that's related to that,
yeah,
I'm not.
God Loves, Men Kills. That's the one. Yeah, that's the it's well, it came out several like decades ago. But it's basically about the X-Men, the Purifiers, and that where it's a religious sort of thing that the X-Men are this are sort of bad, and Nightcrawler is the one who makes the I don't want to give it away, but Nightcrawler has a huge effect on it.
Hmm.
And that, and I think you would really appreciate that one there because even though they're being persecuted and all that, they still stand firm to their ideals and their beliefs.
Beautiful.
And then, yeah, so I think I might try your vision board.
You got it, and you know what? When you do it, you do it. Like it's for me, I remove the word "the try" from my vote because when you do something, and I'm looking forward, to all this convention that you'll go.
Yes. Sorry to quote Yoda. There is no try, do or do not.
There you go.
That's
The wise man.
wise Yoda. No, I'm impressed because I've managed to talk some people from that have games that I inspired or was very inspired by. One called Deadlands, which is a Western with vampires and other sort of stuff. So I actually managed to have an interview with one of the guys who created it.
Beautiful.
Your stories, keep writing your stories, keep Toth Comics going. I hope you have years to come with Toth Comics.
Thank you so much, Coach.
Even if, like I said, it just I know you probably have a run of Cronus Generation. Do you have a plan for Cronus Generation of like it's gonna last so long, and then something else, or?
Yeah. So now the plan is the five episodes,
Mhm.
and the sky's the limit. Whatever we imagine. So an cartoon series would be nice, a movie would be nice. So as long as we can dream it, what's not possible.
And you're right. Nowadays with self-publishing, like you could have if you get our animators and that, you can actually make your own one on YouTube, right?
There
Like
you go.
those a
Yeah.
small, yes, it's your dream. If you get picked up by someone else, that's great. But if you're just making it like once a month, even, or once every so many months, if you can say, hey, here's what we did, I think that'd be great.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
And again, are you gonna put that on your vision board now? Animated.
Yes.
I think you
It's
should.
already there.
It's already there. Okay. So after Chronos, though, do you have plans what the next series is you're going to do?
So apart from Cronus, since Cronus is very expensive, I can expand a lot on the universe and the
Mhm.
different stories. This is where I put my focus on. So yeah, apart from that, I haven't,
Yeah.
I didn't find the other universe to put my
Well,
focus
like you
on.
said, though, Cronus, you could still do other stories within that universe, right? So it doesn't have to be like a whole new universe, but you could at least like prequels maybe or stuff like that.
That's correct. Yeah. And again, the core message is showing anyone can be their own hero. And
Mhm.
since they all have like those different, we're so much more than meet the eye.
More than meets the eye.
So
Yes.
it's going like more in depth.
That no, and like I said, I did like the Dark Fate one where, like I said, the different people. I'll actually have to get it because now I want to know how they meet each other, like and how they start.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah,
because I just saw their each person's back sort of origin story, if you will. So I want to see now how they interact with each other after that.
oh, there you go. You're correct. Yeah, we can continue the Deadly Fate.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Like now I'm like, I want more. And that's what you want to hear from your readers, right? That I want more of this.
Amen. Exactly.
So are you going to be going to the Comic-Con in Ottawa at the end of next fall? Are you planning to go there as a artist or are you going to go just as a visitor?
So I would go more as a visitor. I love to support our Comic Cons. Last year, I've had a booth there.
Mhm.
It was a great experience. Again, interacting with others.
Yeah.
So more as a visitor.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You?
Well, I'll be going as a visitor. Again, I'll be going through with the cards to try and set up more interviews. If you think of anyone that would be interested, like even if you're artist fans, even if they're in Hungary, I'm okay chatting with them, or anyone else that you can think of that is willing to do an interview. I'd love to do more.
Thank you, Patrick. I would like to extend my gratitude.
Oh.
We appreciate so much us as creators.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for that.
Oh, no, thank you. So I'll leave you with this, Nadim. I will set up stuff for canned games. I will let you know for role playing, so you can at least come out and give it a try and see how it goes. Anyone, thank you, viewers, for watching this. Make sure there'll be links for Toth Comics, but make sure to check it out. Even if you just download the free one to take a look and make a comment on it. That helps out. Support Toth Comics, and maybe we'll see him in an animated series at some point in time.
There you go. And I would like to thank you so much, the viewer. Thank you so much for viewing this.
Thank you very much, Nadim, and have yourselves a good one.